What's up, everybody? Welcome to this episode of Beers and Breakdowns. In this episode, we are doing Civil War. So, funny thing about this is Abel and I tried to start doing this because we're like, oh, this looks like it's going to be a good one. We made about 30 minutes in, we're like, boring.
And we were toasted when we tried that, which means it had to be real bad.
Yeah, so wasn't digging it, but then you guys kept saying in the comments, you have to get to the second half. You have to get to the second half. So I did, and wow, there is some pretty intense scenes in this movie, and honestly it just gives me the heebie-jeebies that all this intensity and combat and tactics is being used against fellow Americans is a really uneasy feeling, which obviously was the goal of this
That's terrifying.
entire production. It's absolutely terrifying. Green Berets against Green Berets, Navy SEALs against Green Berets, like,
oh my god.
the way you'd have to do it is get together some special operations and essentially do what you do on range and start training, advising, assisting. But now you're doing it with American civilians to get them able to shoot, move, communicate. And the other side's going to be doing the same thing. So, big news. Sorry, the energy's a little low. I am pretty hungover.
I got a Red Bull. I'm trying to bring it up.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
This is the last day of the trip, and you can definitely tell.
Good news is, I'm not sure if this is going to air after the show has already come out, but if it has, let us know what you guys think about the first episode of Special Forces: The Next Generation. So let us know what you guys think. We appreciate you checking out. Let's jump in. That stinks, dude. First of all, it's just like you're talking about that urban warfare and how terrifying it is, because the use of all our infrastructure to fight in would sometimes have amazing advantages, and sometimes you would just be in the worst spot like these guys are. They have cover up there, they have the high ground, they have perfect visualization of your entire area and where you need to go. Like, you cannot exfil without me blasting you on your way out. So then they tried to smoke it, and it looks like they're throwing out markers instead of smoke, like location markers, or you'd say, hey, pop a red smoke or a green smoke, but it's not really working. I don't understand what they're using, but like the smoke is terrible.
I would do it. I'd be like, pop smoke. Why? I don't know.
Just to help me. But like, it seems like they're so close to the person, you may even want to just like try to lob it closer to that second floor and have it come up and maybe get in the way of the shooters instead of trying to cover your position, because that smoke just isn't working. You could see like all the color on the walls. Yeah. So like, I don't know what type of smoke grenade they're using, but those things suck. Oof. I really like that little roll that he did with them. So he was pulling them by his shoulder and looked like one arm. And then so the other arm stayed tucked, and that way as soon as he got to a good cover position, he could just pull on that arm and roll at the same time, which did a nice little barrel roll, and then he could start working on them. So, good tactics.
Something I wonder about this movie is, realistically speaking, how much press would actually be attached to these guys going around. I could see one renegade like person who just has to get the story, has to get the like the photos and stuff, in the middle of all of this, like essentially putting your life in danger. You can get shot at any time. I just don't see there being like a whole crew that's doing this just for the sake of getting the pictures. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that'd be terrible. We had comm cams in Afghanistan, and I had to do that a lot with them. Like, dude, get down. Yeah. Like, push them out of the way, yell at them, because they just get so focused on trying to get the shots. Like, there's comm cams just standing in the street, like literally taking rounds at him, and he's just like standing there taking pictures. Yeah. I was like, bro, you're gonna get shot. Obviously, that's not good.
Yeah.
You got some arterial bleeding going on. Combat gauze works pretty good. You're gonna have to just stuff it in there the best you can and hope that some of that anticoagulant that's embedded in the combat gauze will stop the bleeding. But Unfortunately, it wasn't in a spot they could tourniquet, so there's not a whole lot outside of that combat gauze they could do. So I just thought it was a cool scene. It's definitely clear that like this one dude has either prior experience or is just the personality to be in a leadership role, because he's kind of trying to do everything himself. He's directing tactics. He's telling people what to do. He's the one that grabs and pulls them. Now he's the one doing all the aid. And so this guy's like, and I imagine that would happen if you had to get a bunch of civilians together. There's going to be ones that don't have any experience, but they're just good under pressure.
Yeah.
And they're going to rise to the top just as if they signed up for the military.
That's natural.
He's giving us orders, man. Someone's trying to kill us. We are trying to kill them.
You don't know what side they're fighting for.
Oh, I get it. You're retarded. You don't understand a word I say. Yo, what's over there in that house?
Someone.
I just thought it was like came out of nowhere. It was just hilarious.
It is.
Pulling up on these two snipers and they're just like, he's like, oh, I get it. You're.
It's just the most like military guys that you could possibly find with just civilians that are just like, what is happening?
Yeah.
What do you mean? They're shooting at me. I'm shooting back. If I stop, they shoot me.
Capiche?
Yeah.
Are we on the same page?
You know who
now?
you're fighting for? I'm fighting for. I don't want to get shot.
What about you? Where are you from?
Colorado.
Colorado. Colorado, Missouri. That's what I'm talking about. America.
Dude, how is this guy the creepiest Matt Damon ever?
He does it so perfectly. Yeah, I know. I didn't think about that, but yeah, he looks a little like Matt Damon.
He looks like a chubby, creepy Matt Damon.
But this guy represents every dude you've seen walking into a gun store, walking into like a tactics store, or not tactics. What is it? Like the surplus, military surplus store. And you can tell this guy he's in like camo pants. This guy just sits at home, watches a military channel, even though he probably hasn't been in the military, and he plots.
Yeah.
And he's waiting for the day when he finally gets to use everything that he's been learning, all the guns he's been buying, and it would be just like that.
Yeah, and he would just be a little bit of power, and he would just be bloodthirsty.
All swimming in conspiracy theories, has a hard time like relating to other humans in normal life. Like,
imagine in a post-apocalyptic world where like those guys got guns and are now somehow like able to run areas, and they're just out there like The Walking Dead. They're just out there. Yeah, it'd be
you
like,
walk in the wrong field and it's just.
He's like, oh, hello.
What are you doing here?
You're surrounded by bombs.
Why don't you start by keeping your hands out of your pockets?
I wouldn't move if I was you.
Listen,
There's
Earl.
bear traps everywhere.
Listen, Earl, I'm going to leave your area. I don't want anything to do with it.
He's like, oh, no, you're not. You're going to stay forever.
You sound like that, the old man from Family Guy.
Yeah. He's like, hey, Chris, I got some popsicles down in the basement. Why don't you come down here and hang out with me, Chris? That's my favorite weapon system in all the U.S. military.
What is it?
A Javelin.
A Javelin?
Yeah.
Oh, I remember the story with that.
Yeah, we shot one for training in Afghanistan. I almost got to shoot one in combat, but it got called out that the pilot was like, they look like children. I was like, they're fighting males in a cave shooting at us. They're not children. But obviously, once he says that, I was like, yeah, you could tell flying around in a helicopter what they look like, dude. Are they smaller? Because that's how it works. The higher you go, the smaller we get. It's mind-blowing, I know.
Was that just that person being more conservative than you guys and wanting to be safe, or he just wanted to make a call?
The pilot?
The one that said he spotted somebody, which prevented you from shooting.
That was the pilot. So my team sergeant was like, we know there's guys in that cave. We got eyes on them. And he goes, get the Javelin. Let's hit it with a direct attack. And then the pilot was like, well, I can't tell if they're all adults. I can't tell. There might be children in there. So like he didn't see children in there. He knew there's military males, but he was just like playing the what if game because he didn't want to be the one that authorized us to shoot, essentially, because he's the one that spotted the bad guys.
Right. Okay.
And the cool thing about the Javelins is they have a top attack and a direct attack firing sequence. So you could set it for top attack, which is designed for tanks, and it'll mark the rockets are like 80 grand each, and it's got a heat sensor and it like locks in the picture, and then so the rocket just scans that picture the whole way until it hits it, so it could follow it.
Yeah.
And it's got the top attacks to go through a tank hole,
Which is super cool.
which is sick, and then the direct attack will do like that, and it goes shunk and like falls, and then the secondary motor takes off and goes shunk. And they're so cool, man. I love those things.
Price of a Beamer.
Yeah. So now you got a little group of special operations guys. Obviously love the stair clear. That's how we do it. The only difference for me is, and it's just a personal preference, the way I was taught, is I like to walk up my feet up the stairs a little bit so I have like bent legs. And that way, as soon as I'm ready, I could pop up and have the gun in the fight right away and then pop back down. So if I ever pop up and someone starts shooting at me, I could just pull down. I'm not like committed with being exposed.
Yeah.
But then they get up on the roof and they start setting up mortars, and it's just all tactics that we would do. Mortars are amazing. Obviously, vantage points like rooftops are going to be always utilized, and so it's just crazy. I never got to fight like this, like being able to just use, fully done buildings and have like just the urban warfare. I never got to do it, and it would be tactics. It would just open up so many possibilities. That was useless.
Throwing them in the middle of the hallway?
Well, just, throwing like 2 bangs and then they just go bang, bang. Like, it's not doing them any good because the bang's over. So the whole point of throwing a flashbang is disorient the guy so he can't shoot you.
Right.
So that's why you have like a 9 banger, goes off bang, 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 bang to give you some time. Or throw a bunch, I don't know, but throwing 2 and then having it go bang, bang, and then running down a fatal funnel isn't doing you a whole lot of good.
Distraction's over.
The distraction's over. Like, is there a better option? I don't know. It's still a tough situation because you guys are at 2 opposing ends of a fatal funnel and you have to move towards them. So you don't want to sit there and continue to fight indefinitely. So you need to move, but what's the best way to do that? So I don't know. Maybe have a better strong arm and get those things down the hall.
Yeah.
And a good possibility is I would probably take 5 or 6 of them and I lob one and have the guy start going, and I'm just going to sit there and keep lobbing them while my guys are running. Yeah. And then I'll be last man, and then I'll take off once I'm out of bangs. So at least I keep them distracted more than just going foom and then running.
Right. They essentially wasted those 2 and did it in the most like inefficient way possible.
Yeah. It was a complete waste of them. Let's see, this is hard to watch too because another thing that they're doing, like, you're not fighting Taliban that don't speak English or have different tactics or don't know our tactics. You're fighting Secret Service, who has very much a lot of tactical training, and they speak English. They know what you're saying. They can hear you yelling.
Yeah.
And you're just screaming out all of your tactics down the hallway. Move, move, move. Roger that. Boom, 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 boom.
Right.
Now I start shooting. So, but that'd be just insanely tough. Like, you got special operations guys going against Secret Service. Like, a lot of people are going to get hit.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed that episode. Let us know what you think about our new show, Special Forces: The Next Generation. Hope you enjoy. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Peace.